so many things go wrong. Where do you start? Where do you prioritize fixing the problems?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Let's start over again.
Bill, you said you guys need to start over. Have you ever had to do that before, 5 games into the season, just for reference? I mean, is it something new?
Yeah, I've done it before.
What does that entail, starting over?
Starting over.
All right, well, here's the Patriots offense today. Okay, we got Bedard and Breer. We'll get to some of the numbers coming up here in a second. Bert, first of all, your thoughts on where the offense is and where Mac Jones is.
I would echo what Greg said, which is it's a bad football team with a very average quarterback who can't do anything outside of the line.
Okay, but I just want to say that the last 2 weeks are beyond just their roster having a problem. Like, we acknowledge that. The first 2 weeks, they weren't a good football. They don't have a lot of talent, so they lose those games. These last 2, Bert, there's something infecting the team.
It feels to me like a team that knows it doesn't have a chance. A team that somewhere in the back of its head knows that no matter how well it plays, it doesn't have the horses to win. And no matter how well its quarterback plays, he doesn't have the juice to be able to pull up everybody around him. And this is something, again, that I said this morning on the pregame show. This is something that showed up in practice. What we saw against Dallas, what we saw against New Orleans, has shown up from Mac Jones in practice to the point where defensive players have called it out in practice and said, you can't do that. That's going to get picked off. That's going to create a turnover. And the fact that it's happening in games is a problem, and it's going to cause a team to lose confidence in its quarterback. I don't sense a lot of internal confidence in Mac Jones right now. And the way I look at it, they have 13 games left, or 12 games left to figure out whether or not he's the quarterback of the future. So they better do what they can to try to get his confidence back to the point where they can get a clear read on who he is.
Okay, let's just again look at these numbers, Robbie. The Patriots offense today, 14 total drives, getting less than 10 yards, 10 of them. Drives gaining 10 to 20 yards just once. Okay, they only had 3 drives gaining 20 yards. And the finger pointing may be beginning. A source close to Mac Jones told Henry McKenna of Fox Sports today, no matter how good of a cook you are, you cannot make garbage taste good. Okay, so Bert, just your thoughts on this.
I mean, I have no idea where this is coming from, but I do know there have been issues with the people around Mac before. So, and I know that this was an issue with Alabama and maybe an issue here too now. I don't know where this is coming from, quite honestly, but I do know that there have been people around Mac who've made excuses for him in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Bert's absolutely correct. This Max Camp has been an issue in the past for this team. I don't know where this is coming from. But the big thing, for me looking at this team, if the Patriots ran the ball well, if Bailey Zappi came in and was effective, then I'd be like, okay, I understand where the problem is. The problem is nothing is working on this offense. Like, nothing is easy at all. They can't even run block. So I don't know where, basically in years past when Josh McDaniels was here, Bill talks about starting over. They would go back to basics. So many runs until we gain a first down and then we're going to throw the ball, or little boot action, easy throws. Not, they started off the game today. Ramondre Stevenson ran for 7 or 8 yards. Then they threw 2 15-yard passes down the field. That's not simple. That's not, inching your quarterback along, giving him breadcrumbs back to success.
Well, I think it still goes back to the talent, though, on the roster. And I think they whistled by the graveyard through April and May and June. And to me, the J.C. Jackson thing's kind of telling, right? Like, you lose a corner and all of a sudden pull the fire alarm and go find a replacement, right? Where was the urgency they showed at corner last week, at offensive tackle in March, at receiver in April, right? Like, you see the way other teams address these sorts of positions. The Chiefs went and signed a $20 million tackle and then signed another veteran left tackle in the offseason, right? You see what the Eagles did to upgrade their receiver position over the last couple of years. The good teams in the league have treated offensive positions with urgency. Bill doesn't seem to do that, and that's the reason why you're in this position.
Forget urgency. How about getting players? Calvin Anderson, who was one of your acquisitions at tackle, was a healthy scratch today. Riley Reif, who was the other tackle that you signed, they stopped playing him at tackle on August 1st and has only played guard since then. Trent Brown is a guy who, has been around. We all know about his history. Devontae Parker, they gave an extension to. He can't get open. I mean, it's just Trent Brown, they gave him an extension to. He couldn't block today. It's just over and over again. They don't have anything.
Okay, they don't have anything, and now on top of it, they've either quit on their quarterback or they don't believe in him, or there's a whole nother layer beyond just the talent that, again, I'm just sort of fixated on, because that's how you get to 34-0. Right? That's the story there, that there's something else there that's now on this team. And if it's not the quarterback, who the heck knows? All right? Does this get Bill Belichick fired? I mean, it's just sort of obvious. If it keeps like this, they're losing 34-0 every week. I think we all know the answer there. But, are we on the way now to this being Bill Belichick's last year?
I still don't think he gets fired, but I do think there's a scenario that could play out where he winds up without a job, and that is if Robert Kraft does this offseason what he did in 1997, which is 96, which is take personnel power away from the coach. He could potentially go in and saying, we're going to restructure anyway whenever Gerard Mayo or whoever else takes over for you. So we're going to just do it now. And you can stick around if you want, but this is what I'm doing. The roster is beyond repair. You haven't drafted well. You haven't signed free agents well. You haven't traded effectively. We need to bring in somebody to handle that part of it, because that part of the operation is deficient. And then it becomes up to Bill. And I think we could all see a scenario where Bill looks at that and says, I'm out of here.
Greg, what do you think?
I think all options are on the table for the Krafts. I mean, I don't. Their preference would be not to fire Bill Belichick. But I do think. I think a mutual parting of the ways after this season. Of course, this is if it continues on the way that it is. But look, after today, I started to have thoughts that I haven't had before. Could they make a change during the season? I mean, the last 2 weeks, 72-3. If there's something fundamentally wrong with this team, and it looks like if today was just the tip of the iceberg of the team tuning out Bill Belichick and not believing in what he's doing, and vice versa with Bill with the players, then
hold on.
I think something could happen. I mean, I think it's on the table at this point after what we've seen, 72-3.
Okay, and here's another one. The Patriots are now a game out of last place in the NFL. They are one game out of the first overall pick in the draft. And this is going to start.
Caleb Williams.
Mac Jones has lost support internally, externally. They need a quarterback. They are one game away from having the first overall pick. There's going to be a lot of people who say lose them all. What do you think of that, Bert?
I don't think you tank. But I do think if you get to the end of the season and you need to manage the roster creatively, you manage the roster creatively. I think just what we've seen so far is that he cannot carry a team. We have 3 years of evidence of that. And this goes back to that first year, and a lot of people don't know this. That first year, Josh McDaniels was holding his hand to the point where he was in his ear, the same way Sean McVay was in Jared Goff's ear all those years ago. He was holding his hand, and once they let go, they found a player who just cannot carry an operation, so you have to keep swinging in that position. That means spending draft capital, no matter where your picks are, at that position until you get it right.
Should they lose? Should they just lose the rest of the year? Get as high a pick as possible? I mean, I'm still against it. I wouldn't do it, but I'm asking you.
I don't believe in that. But, what is proven is that the way Bill wants to do things, collect trash and get the quarterback to boost everybody up, doesn't work without the elite quarterback. That's what's being proven the last couple of years.